You know, every year in May, on my way past one of the local grocery stores, I pick up one of these hanging plants, about $9 or $10, and every year I buy it and I hang it here. And I know full well it's not going to survive past the middle of July. But I still buy them every year. Today, let's just see where the wind takes us. Come with. Hey, good day folks. Welcome back to GP Outdoors. Wanted to add a little flavor to the video today, and I left in a lot of things and may have sped up parts to try to include them just so you could see, or hopefully it would give you some comfort to know that we all have what I call off days. It means it's not a good day, it's not a bad day. It's kind of one of those days when you're either not concentrating, your coordination is off, you're maybe a little absent-minded or not as focused as you should be. Morning, guy. Hey, Bear. Hey, buddy. I guess the power's out, isn't it?
Yes, you heard. You're down the road.
I knew shortly after I woke up it was going to be an off day. It was on my first cup of coffee when I tried to add a little teaspoon of sugar to it. Most of the sugar ended up on the counter. That was my first indication. And as you watch the video, you're probably going to notice it's pretty evident that I'm not on my game today, and might have been better that I just put the chainsaw away and parked the tractor. But as the morning went on, I started to try to focus more consciously on what I was doing, although it wasn't helping a whole lot. In fact, as you watch the video, you'll notice that some of the clips or sections are in high-resolution 4K, and others are pretty grainy, because again, it's just another example of an off day. I must have inadvertently changed the setting on one of my cameras down to a very low-resolution 720p. And this is why we're here today. A little bit of wood to pick up. Let's get her done. As you can see, we're back at neighbor Ralph's today. When he was excavating for his garage, he was able to accumulate quite a bit of hardwood. Some of it's going to be great for the portable mill, because Guy still needs a few cans for his target range, and some of it's going to be some great firewood. So we went down with the log trailer to pick it up. Take a look behind Ralph on the excavator. You'll see that there are two 10 to 12 foot tall stumps. They're maple, and it's good wood. Going to be great for the mill. We'll get back here shortly. Hey, let's do a quick update on Ralph's garage. Coming along really well. Got a lot more. Morning, Ralph.
Morning. How are you this morning?
Oh, neighbor guy. Got a lot of the siding on, which is great. A little more of the excavation done. And as you can see, all this stone is in and compacted, and it's level. He said concrete's coming either later today or tomorrow. Just working on his drain right now. And it looks like he's going to be putting a lift in. So he's, I guess, dug out some pad areas for the sides of the lift. But yeah, she's coming along really nice. like I'm gonna have to trade in my grapple. And so here's a good example of what an off day is for me. Although I'm not an expert with the grapple, I think the experience I've gained over the last number of years, I've gotten pretty good at using it. In fact, in my view, pretty darn good using it. But today, it seems I can't grab a log for the life of me. No matter how hard I work or focus at managing or coordinating that joystick for the loader and the grapple, I just can't seem to get it right. As you can see here, straight log, probably about 10-12 inches in diameter, should be an easy, simple pick, and I just can't seem to grab it right. I just can't get it out of the trailer. Just when I think I've got it, as you can see, I don't. Like I said, it's an off day, and these are clear examples that tell me that I'm just not on my game today. I imagine we all have these days. If you've been watching young Bear in the background, you'll see that at 4.5 months old, he stands almost as tall as Coda. And according to Guy, he's already starting to vie for dominance. It's going to get interesting. He certainly does love that hose, though. He's all over the water. One of the benefits of doing this YouTube channel and recording the things that I do most days is that you get an opportunity to kind of see an unbiased view from the camera of the activities you're doing or how you're operating the tractor or your chainsaw or any other type of equipment, and it helps you to improve. But this coming segment here is kind of a real indication of how I just was not on my game. And when you're swinging a chainsaw, it's probably not a good idea when you realize that you're just not as coordinated or you're not concentrating, that maybe it's better I didn't use the saw today. I mean, I can't even clear the bush around the tree without trouble. And here's where it all kind of goes a little bit south. This first tree, just for reference, took me 7 minutes to fall. The one that I'm about to do after that took me 5.5 minutes. Should have been a real quick exercise. But as you can see here, my front cut is on a 40 or a 45 degree angle. Yet from my view, I'm thinking it's level. Yet I follow through and I finish the cut. You may see chips coming out. What you're not seeing here, but you'll see in a moment, is although I'm getting some chips off of that chainsaw, I'm getting a ton of sawdust. And so I'm becoming confused in my mind, wondering why I'm getting sawdust when an hour and a half ago I just pulled the chainsaw apart, cleaned it, and I sharpened the chain. I also can't understand why this simple 10-11 foot log is not falling to the ground after I finished my back cut. Guy comes over to give me a helping hand, and it turns out on one side I've got a hinge about 2 inches, and as you might have noticed with the saw, I wasn't finishing the back cut parallel to the front cut, so I had about a 6-inch hinge on the other side, which explained why. The other challenge I'm having is the saw is kind of speaking to me. I've got a lot of sawdust flying off the back, but also it's hard to press it through the wood, and the motor, I can tell, is revving at a far higher RPM than it normally does when it cuts wood. All of these indications tell me my chain is dull. But in my mind I realized I just finished sharpening it an hour and a half ago. It can't be dull. Surely it can't be dull. You can see a little clearer in this shot here how long it's taking me just to get in 3 or 4 inches into the front of that tree. And if you look between my legs, you can see the sawdust. You don't see a lot of chips, plus the fact that I'm fighting with that saw to get through the wood. And you'll notice every once in a while when I pull the saw, I look down at it because I'm trying to figure out why it's not working properly today and why it's revving so high. And as you can see here, a ton of sawdust being pushed by the wind. That's what's coming out the back of the saw. I finally get through it. I'm trying to get my back cut done. I'm confused, but I keep going. In fact, I even try an overcut. I try to take it from the other side. It's just not working out. I go back at it, and I eventually fall it. And I have to say, it's probably one of the ugliest hinges I've ever done.
I think my sharpener file must be done. I sharpened it this morning and everything, but look at all the sawdust, eh?
At the end of the day, despite the fact that I sharpened that saw this morning, the signs were obvious. After you get used to your chainsaw, it kind of talks to you when you use it. It's telling you what's wrong or what's right. But I just couldn't rationalize it. Why? It was an off day. So I gotta tell you, I was kind of confused. Like I do most mornings when we head off into the forest or we're doing any chainsaw work, I always clean my saw and I sharpen it. Because there's nothing worse than being out in the forest or doing work with a dull saw. But for some reason, when I was felling those 2 maples, I was getting chips, but I was also getting a ton of sawdust. I could not figure it out. But our good friend neighbor Guy figured it out for me. The old 2-in-1. Love the 2-in-1. What I forgot about was that every once in a while, you've got to get these files out and you've got to spin them because they eventually wear down. And I think that's what my problem was this morning. So we're going to spin them, we're going to sharpen it up, so we're ready to go tomorrow. Let's see if that fixed it. Yep, the chain wasn't sharp. On a side note, I have to tell you, this logger's tape is pretty handy. It comes in handy whether you're in the forest or you're working the mill. Wish I'd picked it up a long time ago. To here, it's 12 feet 2 inches. Well, I gotta tell you, that chainsaw work on those two maples, not my finest hour. But I guess I didn't do a good job of sharpening that chain this morning. It took me a lot of effort to try to get through those cuts to get them to fall. Oh well. Whenever a guy picks up logs from somewhere else, he always likes to check them for metal. Especially up here in cottage country, people are always hammering nails or hangers into their wood. You'll notice here, a guy started hanging a bucket off the end of that mill. He's got a good friend that's an auto mechanic. So he collects up this sawdust for him, because he uses it when he's got any oil or fluid leaks on his auto shop floor. I know the video's been a little long, but I'm hoping it's a little bit helpful to some of you that are kind of like me. You haven't been doing this a long time, or you're fairly new to chainsaws or tractors or different types of equipment to maintain your property. And I hope it's given you a little bit of comfort to realize that a lot of this equipment or the skill that comes along with it is more experience-based. You don't read a manual, take it out and use it perfectly, or it's never going to always be, a textbook lift, or a perfect load of gravel, or a perfect grade every time, or the grapple's not going to work, or it's not going to pick up a log perfectly every time. It takes time. And I think we all have off days. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Nothing too exciting, but hey, as I always told you, there's always something going on the Concession Road. You can always find something to do. Hope you enjoyed hanging around today. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting videos, just click the little bell. Have a great week with your families. Please be kind to each other. I'll see you again right here. I'm Gord Potter, and you've been watching GP Outdoors. Cheers.